Alright guys, what's going on YouTube fam? This is your boy J Money here, and I'm bringing you guys episode 3 of Subscriber Decks, and it is definitely not featuring Necros. Hold on, it is in fact featuring, you guessed it, Windup. So Copter, take notes man, this is for you. So anyway, sorry about that. As of recording this video, we recently got a ban list and all the good stuff, and that didn't shake up too much. It did bring down the power of a lot of blue decks, which generally has to be conserved for this next format, because if I'm correct, then we're about to enter into a super back row floodgate heavy format. Gokis are still playable, don't get it twisted. Even though we lost Nightmare Goblin, it's still playable. However, as I said before in my couple of videos ago regarding U-boards and the problem with them, it's much easier to deal with this board now because you're now able to target. So things like Impermanence, if you draw into it, things like Widowmaker, Forbidden Chalice, Mind Control, they're all fair game now. So you can threaten the Tri-Gate Wizard much easier, forcing out those negates much easier, and having an easier time against them. Hell, you can now even drop an Effect Veiler if you're scared of the potentially having another extender to continue your combos. You can now save things like Effect Veiler for Gumblar Dragon and be good, because when Gumblar hits the board, Tri-Gate isn't triple co-linked at that time. So if you want to just save your cards until the end of the combo to where you're not getting your hand ripped, you can do that now because Goblin is banned. However, when it comes to this deck, the unfortunate part is that Goblin played a big role in this deck's success, being able to not pop off, but Goblin was the main reason you unbricked, essentially. There'd be way too many times to where you wouldn't have the combo, but you would make a Zen Maintenance and Searcher Magician, and let's say play like one of your 5 Reborn cards and revive your rat that you summoned off Rescue Cat, make Goblin, discard the Magician, and then normal summon the rat in your hand, and revive the Magician, and using maintenance, and then that's how you unbrick yourself. That's how you get yourself out of those situations, because Goblin gave you that extra normal summon. Now I know extra normal summons are absolutely ridiculous when they're completely generic, but that's something that I found was very highly beneficial with this deck, is that Goblin on a lot of your awkward hands would just break you out of that awkward situation and turn yourself playable. You can do combos without Goblin, don't get me wrong, but the main issue is if you got one of those awkward hands, you no longer have Goblin to just break you out of that awkward situation. And that's why I like Goblin so much, because it really wasn't there just to get your extra normal summon and then mount your Ibly and all that stuff. So anyway, I started with the Fairy Lily when I started playing Windup, so I went from 22 to 21 hours. And so I'll end up showing you guys, even though this is probably not going to be very helpful, because I believe I used Goblin in quite a few of these to unbrick, but it goes to show exactly how important Goblin really is when it comes to fixing your hand. So okay, I believe this match doesn't really matter because he's playing Monarchs and I drolled him after we drew our cards, and it was over. So I dropped Droll, that was over, and he goes first again. I open Droll again, and I decide to Kaiju's because, okay, he's playing Monarchs, I don't want him to domain me, but he quit. Because, well, if you can't draw a bunch of cards, if you can't search and or draw, you probably lose that game. Even though I'm saying that, I'm clearly proving my own point wrong right here, because I get drolled by this guy, and he's playing pure Sky Strikers, and I still U-lock him and OTK him. So right here, he draws, and I'm like, okay, he's playing Sky, so I'm going to droll him. And so right here, we're good. We go double summon, we make the maintenance, we search Bat. Okay, yeah, because we have Machine Dude, but he drolls me, so I'm thinking, okay, this is fine. I have Goblin. See, this is one of those parts where Goblin really helps, because a lot of times you're just stuck, and it's like you have to get that extra normal summon to actually break free from the little situation you're in. So right here, let me go and pause. Okay, so what's going on? Okay, so we're doing Nightmare combos, and we haven't used Firewall's effect just yet. But all I'm doing is looping Bat with Wind Up Rat, because that's how you can play around Joel, is because Wind Up Bat doesn't care. A Wind Up Magician doesn't care because it summons him from the deck. Wind Up Rat summons out of the grave, and Bat pulls them from grave to hand. And so it's like, okay, this is fine. I'll open Magician Shark here. Well, I don't open Call by the Grave, so I'm afraid he's got some sort of hand traps. And or sets Widow Anchors and all that stuff. But I have all the extenders. I have Monster Reborn. I have all that. So if he does Veiler and all that stuff, I can reborn these cards and continue getting my effects off. So I go Magician Shark. I'm afraid he's got like Widow Anchors, but no, he doesn't. What he has set is a Shark Cannon. I'm like, who the hell plays Shark Cannon? So right here, I go search Rat because I need the Rat for the combos, but he banishes my Bat weirdly enough, so I just go Rat. You know, I go Hunter, hit a card out of his hand, and I start hand looping him, and I think I'm under Joel on this one. I'm not sure. Looking at his grave. Okay, I'm not under Droll, but I don't need to search. That's the thing about this deck. You don't really need Droll after you go to maintenance, because you only need to search one time. It does suck that that you won't be able to get the value off of your nightmares when they're co-linked, but as you can clearly see, who cares? Just spam Wind Up Bat and Wind Up Rat over and over and over again, and continue to go in there. And so if you're missing out on cards in hand, just get your Firewall triple co-linked and grab all your cards. So I would decide to bounce Ray to his hand, go for Trigate, he quits. So Bat right here would have been good, and I go into Cerberus summon Bat, grab Bat, and go Trigate, banish his Shizuku, and then end up linking that Bat off into a Link Rebo. And so now he's extra linked, and well, yeah, that's the game. So even if he had Impermanence and Veiler and all that stuff, I had Reborn and I had Succession in hand, so I had multiple options to continue to push through. But once again, man, Goblin, Nightmare Goblin is pretty important. So let's see. Here's another win. I'll try to go down to the drawing board and try to figure out how to make these things work without Goblin. Like, I know there's combos that you can do without Goblin, but the main issue that I'm concerned with now is the whole, oh, how am I gonna break myself out of this awkward situation without Goblin? Because Goblin is like literally a godsend to this deck, just unbricking. Because you can't put Firewall on the field just yet, and I'm just like, who the hell is playing DD Crow in their main deck? I mean, I know some people is gonna be like, oh, it just won him the game, but that doesn't mean it's a good card. Still pretty bad. Let's see, right here, I go Rescue Cat, and I believe I end up popping off. I believe this is one of the situations to where, yeah, right here, another situation to where, hey, Nightmare Goblin unbricks me, because without Goblin, I can't just break myself out, because I don't have any way to put another monster onto the board. And that was that's the main issue right here. It's just simply the fact that without Goblin, how in the hell are you going to break yourself out when you actually need to search your Magician off as a maintenance? Like, you gotta put it in the graveyard and you gotta put another rat onto the field. Goblin was by far the only way to do that. And as you can see, most of these times I have double summon in hand, but I still need the Goblin. And so I don't know, guys. I don't know about this one. like I said, I like the fact that Goblin is now gone because you can now target and start picking apart the U-board. But with certain decks like Windups, it really makes it to where now we have to have Carrier. Now we really need Carrier to come back and all that good stuff. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that that's the way it is and all that good stuff. So with that being said, right here we're just drawing and passing, which is weird. So he decides to gamma me, so I can already get that out of the way. And so again, I have another draw, and it's just GG because I have the Soul Charge in hand. And I start with that just to make sure he doesn't have DD Crow, because I do have Call by the Grave set. And that's another thing. The fact that Call by the Grave is now semi'd, I like it, for one, because every time I play Necros, my Valk gets hit with Call by the Grave every god-given game. But I also hate it because, well, I no longer have the, the viable options to just consistently stop hand traps. And that's what you want. You always want ways that you can consistently deal with hand traps and all that good stuff, because they should never be unstoppable. Hand traps should not just be able to just roam free with no opposition whatsoever. Luckily, we still have Instant Fusion and Millennium Eyes and all that good stuff. So, my main concern, as I clearly said, was just the loss of Goblin is a much bigger deal for this deck than people may realize at first. Yes, you can do the combos and all that, but a lot of times you need to be able to break out of these weird scenarios to be able to perform those set combos. And Goblin was the main reason you could do that. And now, not only that, but my biggest fear for this format is all the blue decks just went down in power and all that good stuff, which isn't bad, but they did absolutely nothing to the other decks. They left all the back row decks alone. So my biggest fear is that we're just going to be in a nice control heavy, back row heavy, floodgate heavy format, to where it's going to be nothing but Trickstars, Dracos, Altergeists, Sky Strikers, heroes with Darklaw, Nat Beast at 3, and all that stuff. It's like, I feel like there's going to be so much back row and so many floodgates just back and forth. I hate that I got banned, but at the same time, I feel like this would be if that was the kind of format we're in, that is not a very enjoyable format, to where every other deck is playing Rivalry Warlords and goes in matches and all that other stuff, and just set 5 is like, if I'm not playing Floodgates, I'm setting 5. Being Sky Strikers or Trickstars, or if I'm playing Altergeist, I'm playing Anti-Spills, Rivalry Warlords, Dracos, I'm playing Rivalry Warlords, goes in match, and all that mess. And it's just like, I see it now. I see so much Floodgates running around. Just you wait, just watch. Now there's probably going to be some dangers and some pendulums floating around, and there's definitely going to be Gokis, because they're not going anywhere. But now the Goblin's gone, you can target the board. You can Widow Anchor turn off their Cerberus, so you can play Raigekis again. Even though Cerberus is still in the game, you can Widow Anchor, you can Impermanence, and you can actually target the Cerberus. And that's important. Now these boards are easier to break, which is what I've been fighting for. I specifically said, if you take Goblin out of the picture, how huge would that be? You can now play Mind Control, you can play Forbidden Chalice, you can play all these targeting staples again, because it's not just utterly useless. And so yeah, although we are able to break these boards, I am still sad for Goblin's departure, because, well, decks like these kind of really desperately need that normal summon. But I will go to the drawing board and see what I can come up with and all that good stuff. I might have, I don't want to play the Brilliant Engine, because looking at this deck, better take this out. Better take out a Call by the Grave, and a Machine Dupe. Machine Dupe definitely should not be a 3, but anyway, if you look, every single spell in hand is supposed to, besides Factory and Call by the Grave, is designed to put more monsters onto the field, which is very important because windups, if you don't open Magician Shark, they struggle putting monsters on the board. That's why Goblin is just so unbelievably important, and so is Double Summon and all that good stuff. Because if you don't find a way to put 3 monsters on the board, well, now you actually have to put more, because before all you need to do was put 3 monsters on the board because you had Nightmare Goblin. Now you don't. So we're gonna see what happens in the future. Copter, let me know what you guys normally know what you personally think about this. I didn't get a chance to look at your actual list because for some reason I couldn't. But this right here, this is what it was looking like before we got that ban list. We need Carrier now more than ever for this deck. We need to turn this into a rank 3 turbo very, very badly now because of Duck Goblin's disappearance. So let me know what you guys think about this. Let me send me some of you guys' list so I can have another episode for subscriber decks. So thank you guys very much for watching. This is J Money, and I am signing out.